Yeah, yeah. I must thank Jesus all of my trials. I cannot bear these burdens alone. In my distress, He kindly will help me. He ever loves and cares for His own. I must Jesus. Jesus. I must Jesus. Good morning, listeners in Radio Land. Good afternoon, no matter what part of the world you are. This is the Moaner Praise. And I'm here. This word is not for the Puritans, but this is for the lunar-hearted. This is for the broken-hearted. And this is for us who are called to His service despite. For God, He said, to them that believe, He gave them power to be called the sons and daughters of God. So this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, where part of the world you may be, the word will be coming from the book of Matthew chapter 25 and the radars. In Matthew 25, verse 14, the story of the parable of the 7. Chapter 14, he said, again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of the man going on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it in the proportion to their abilities, and then left on his trip. The 7 who received the 5 bags of silver began to invest the money and earned 5 more. The 7 with 2 bags of silver also went to work and earned 2 more. But the 7 who received the 1 bag of silver dug a hole in the ground, and he had the master money. Beloved, this scripture or this word has a great illustration. It stated that the master divided his wealth among his servants by their abilities. In life, we all are given 24 hours in a day. What is important is how we utilize our 24 hours by our abilities. Scripture, the Bible do say that we should pray that God will give us daily bread. But it comes to my understanding that in certain part of the world, most specifically in my home country, it seems to be that we are praying for the crumbs and not the bread. The same Liberia that somebody will have a degree and will not have a job or do nothing. A Fulani will leave from his country, come or walk across, begin to sell peanuts. And in a few months, he will begin to sell with a widow market. And then he have a little shop. And you made up his mind, he's running the store, the same country. The same country, an Indian will come with a small bag, become a shop boy to another Indian. And in months and in years, he became a master and hired the people who owns the land. Beloved, this scripture is an illustration that a black man had an ability. He belongs to Africa, the part of the world that has so much resources, so much natural resources. So God gave us not too much of a talent. He gave us just one because our abilities is so much. We have a melanin in our skin, so therefore we can run in the sun. But the Caucasian man don't have the ability to run in the sun. So he gave them a little bit more talent, and they don't have more resources. So dear, this illustration is very clear that in life, God gave us our ability and how we utilize the ability. Now, let's dive in the scripture. It went forward to say, when the master returned, go down. After a long time, the master returned from his trip and called them to give an account of how they had used the money. The servants to whom he had entrusted 5 bags of silver came forward with 5 more and said, Master, you gave me 5 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 5 more. The master was full of praise. Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount. So how now? I will give you many more responsibility. Let's celebrate together. The servant who had received 2 bags of silver came forward and said, Master, you gave me 2 bags of silver to invest and have earned 2 more. The master said, well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling just small amount, so I will give you many more responsibility. Let's celebrate together. Then the servant with 1 bag of silver came and said, Master, I know you, well and harsh man, harvesting crops you did not plant and gathering crops you did not cultivate. I was afraid I would have lost your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here is your money back. But the master replied, you wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I harvest crops I did not plant and gather crops I did not cultivate, why did you deposit my money in the bank? At least I would have gotten some interest on it. Then he ordered, take the money from this servant and give it to the one with 2 bags of silver. To those who use well what they are given, and even more will be given, and they have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away. Now throw this useless servant into the utter darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of tears. Beloved, this is a very familiar passage. I come from a part of the world that people are very articulate. When they narrow down the reasons why they don't do much, why they haven't done well, why they have gone to school and they have a degree, but they don't have a job because the government is doing. It sounds a bit familiar. This passage reminds me of how people would sit there and ask for a little bit of turkey, and they use it, and after a month or 2, they would call back and say, things are a bit high. Can you send me a little thing? And the same amount will be sent to another person in a different part of the world, and they will use that little turkey and to invest and improve their lives. This is a very familiar passage. So you realize that because we are not doing much with what God has entrusted us with, the little that God has given us, the good health that we have, growing in the country that is so green that we can plant a potato green behind our houses, but we have to go and buy the potato green, that we can plant a little garden behind our house, so we have to go and buy a cassava leaf, and we have to call somebody that don't have food, or there's no rice, or so forth. This is a very familiar passage for the part of the world that I know, my home country, where people sit there and they narrow down the reasons why they haven't done much with their lives, and reasons why they cannot do much with their lives. They're so articulate in narrowing the problems and even the circumstances. But the passage just said that the master said, if you have just put my money in the bank, at least I will have gotten. If God have given you a good health, you're young and strong and vibrant, you sit down there from morning to night doing nothing with it. And so then you find yourself having sicknesses that you shouldn't have, getting depressions and getting illnesses that you shouldn't have, because your mind becomes so full with laziness and not the ability to excel in life. And now you have to worry about your health, that God has given you so much health, but you have not utilized that health to improve your lives. I leave the word with you.
That loves and cares for his own.